All right, hello, beautiful people. This is your host, Truth, aka or Matthew, aka Truth, um, coming to you live day and night podcast, episode 19. It's another episode. We thank you guys for those of you that have watched the first episode so far. As always, like, subscribe. We're actually going to be on Spotify starting next week. So I'll put that information out via Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. But we'll be on Spotify. So if you're not able to actually look at the podcast, you'll be able to hear it. And we're also on Google also. So if you have Android, you can just Google our name, Day and Night Podcast. Last week episode is already uploaded on Google. So, like I said, if you guys can't check out the actual video itself on YouTube, you can listen while you're driving, going to work, while you're at work, or whatever the case may be.
In a world of envy, analyze as these guys looks to see. They clones to the naked eye, the dynamic dude. No pesticides, they organic. Day and night's the podcast. In panoramic in 4K, live streaming on your airwaves. No cliche to downplay, this ain't no child's play. Twin brothers close knit bonding. They wonders of the world, they monsters. The twin Tompkins, brought on only born. They travel the world stomping at the break of dawn daily. The iron's pumping, my brain no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody cause it's day and night.
All right, so as I said, this is going to be the second episode of, or part two of religion versus spirituality. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get someone that's actually that has a theology degree or someone that's that's studying theology. So we're going to go forward with the objective side of religion versus spirituality, but the focus is going to be on the history of it. So I'm just going to give a brief overview as far as when it started and so forth, put some numbers out there, and then we'll just have open discussion based on those facts. So Marcus, what you got over there?
Well, I'm just going to piggyback off of you. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? Just like you said, I'm going to let you do the history part of it, and I'm just going to put my insight on. Again, it's going to be more of a opinion with me because I don't consider myself to be real religious. I'm more free-spirited, so I won't be coming to you guys in a way to where I'm speaking like out of the Bible. That's just being transparent with you guys. I don't do that. So my perspective is going to be a little different. It's just going to be basically personal opinion, how I feel about it. Like I kind of spoke on it last week, just going to reiterate the same thing in a sense as far as how I feel about, people putting their religion on each other or spirituality on each other and trying to make the other one feel like they have to accept the other one instead of just, to me personally, I feel like, again, we should be on a common ground where if that's what you believe in, if you're not personally hurting me or affecting me and what I believe in, then you do you, I do me, and we could all live and still believe in the God we believe in and pray and worship, whatever you want to call it, and still live a productive life. So it just amazes me how some people are so adamant about making their point be more valid than the other one. And I'm not saying everybody is like that, but it's a good vast majority. That's why the saying is always, don't talk about religion and race in the business or anywhere because it's such a taboo subject. And I think part of that is because where people fall at, it's a passionate subject. So I get it. So a lot of us, like I said, include myself, I can talk about it much as I can. I not get into it. I say it's more disagreement. And it sometimes gets heated. It's to the point where each other is kind of like, well, this is the way I believe. And it's like getting to the point where we're trying to force it on each other. So again, like I was saying, if it don't hurt you directly, whatever that person do, it shouldn't bother you. That's just my personal belief. if nobody agrees with that, I have to respect that. But that's just my belief. Just like I respect people that worship and speak the Bible every day and live the Bible every day. Hey, if that's what's making you go forward, then by all means, go for it. But that's kind of, where I'm at with it. So I'm gonna let you do your part, Matt, in the history aspect of it. And then again, I'm gonna put my input based off basically, again, my own personal opinion. At the end of the day, that's all it's gonna be. But yeah, I'm gonna let you do your part, Matt.
All right, so as always, beautiful people, or the thought becomes a belief, and your belief becomes your manifestation or your reality, however you want to spin it. All right, so this week is going to be a little bit different for me. This week may sound like I have more of my opinion in it than it is facts, but I'm going to state the facts. Now, I have to say this. By no means, I'm a historian of when Christianity started. Okay, so I'm not even going, like Mark said, I'm not even going to come across like I'm this great historian with Christianity and so forth. Now, I have read the Bible front to back. I'm not saying I'm an expert in it, but I do have some knowledge of it. But one of the important things that Mark spoke on last week is that everybody perceives the Bible differently. So regardless on if someone reads it, how Mark read it and how he receives it is going to be different from how I read it and receive it. And I believe that's one of the reasons why there's such a disparity or conflict when it comes to religion, is because everybody perceives it different from the other person. And you can't force your belief, not belief, but you can't force your perception on somebody else. So you can't make them see it how you see it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that causes so many issues when it comes to the topic of religion, is because a lot of people, for some reason, can't comprehend the fact that, hey, what you see is not what I see. Because perception is based off of your environment, how you perceive, how you think, all that stuff, falls into place as far as how you perceive things. So if you're a negative person and you're constantly thinking negative, the way you read things is going to come off negative to you, or it's going to come off a different way from somebody that's positive. So it's no way we ever going to agree on what's right or what's wrong. So the best part, and my whole intention of this, is to bring attention to it. So when I speak on this, again, I don't want it to come across as me trying to force my beliefs on anybody. It's more so is to just get people to think out of the box and not always just look at things in a linear view. And I believe that's what religion does. It keeps people, in a sense, in prison, to where the only way you look at it is just from one aspect. Just from my research so far from doing this pod, it is so much information out there. It's mind-boggling. And I was just thinking about this not too long ago. I said, I kind of see why some people find it easy to just stay on that one avenue, so to speak, as far as with just religion and Christianity, because there's so much information out there. If one, it can confuse you. Two, it can frustrate you. Three, it can distract you. So I think it's easier for some people to just focus on one aspect and say, okay, this is what I like. This identifies with me, and that's what I'm going to stick with. Because there's just so much information out there that it literally will have you confused. But anyway, I'm not going to keep running my mouth on that. All right, so based off of what I found, Christianity basically started, according to ancient documents and so forth, that Christianity started about 2,000 years ago in Judea. So in present day, Judea is now known as Israel. And with Jesus Christ and his faithful group of disciples, during this period, Judea was a cross-cultural mecca of, bustling cities and farms. And then the Emperor of Rome, was the ruler of the Israelites at the time. He hated the Roman rule. So that's just a quick foundation as far as when it started. They say about 2,000 years ago. And I don't want to insult anybody, intelligence as far as with the history of it and so forth. Everybody know what they was taught in Sunday school if you went to Sunday school and so forth. So with that, I'm just going to go into statistics as far as how many people is in the world. It's about 7.8 billion. And I stated this last time. A third of the population of the world believe in Christianity and they follow Christianity. That's a huge amount of people. Okay. So for me, when you have that amount of people following, one religion, basically, to me, it kind of puts people in a box. And when you put somebody in a box like that, it kind of restricts them from growing. And my whole thing is just starting from, one point and then growing to the next point, ascend, if you want to, say that, ascending to, yet the highest level you can go to, whether that's transcending or, to the best possible person you can be, whatever your idea of ascension is, then that's what it is. But that's what I believe we're supposed to do. And to me, with religion, it keeps you in that box because basically everybody go off of what the Bible teaches, the 10 Commandments. So if you just go off the 10 Commandments, there's some people that believe, well, I'm following the 10 Commandments, I'm good. I go to church, I pay my tithes, and they feel as though they're doing what they're supposed to do as a Christian. So to me, again, that just keeps you in a box. It doesn't allow you to grow because there's so much information out there. There's so many other avenues that can help you get to that point other than just following just one basic ideology, if that makes sense. All right, yep. Mark. I was going to go ahead and let you. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time. So
no, fine. I told you this is going to be the one episode where I'm going to be more of a neutral because I don't want to get to the point where I'm keep repeating myself either. And then people are like, really, you ain't got nothing else to say? Because literally, I don't. In that honesty, because it's going to come back to the same thing. Because I read the Bible. I ain't gonna lie. I don't read the Bible like I should. And I know mom and dad raised us. The dad mainly was a little bit more on it. Like when I moved to San Antonio, he'll always ask me, do you read your Bible? Are you, studying your Bible? And I'm like, no, Dad. He'd go into his spiel where you need the Lord in your life and you ain't going to be able to make it because when that day comes, when you come to crossroads or judgment day, whatever you want to call it, you need to have God in your life to be able to go to the pearly gates and heaven, all that, this spiel. So I have, religious friends that they don't pound it in my head and tell me, Marcus, you need to do this, you need to read the Bible. But they do tell me that I do need that part in my life. And I tell them, it's just like if you read a book. Once you read it, you should be able to comprehend it to where you should understand it to where you don't have to read it every day. Now, I can understand you referring to it just to reassure yourself on something. But I think you made a good point when you said about perception. And I think that's in the gist. You can read it one way, I read it another, and we take it and look at it two different ways. So I always tell people when it comes to this, again, if you believe in something and what you believe in, it can be totally different than somebody else. So you can't fault someone for following what they follow, as long as you ain't what you follow is tell you to go out and personally hurt somebody or judge someone or do anything that's in a harmful way. If it's praising again and you're accepting and you're following and doing the right path, so be it. Now, one thing I will make a comment on, and I always tell all my friends this that haven't seen the movies. One movie for me, personally speaking on everybody's perception is different. It was a movie with Denzel Washington, and it was called The Book of Eli. And I even told some of my friends it's very religious. Some of them didn't like it, and they said it didn't make sense. But the gist that I got out of that movie, for anybody that didn't see it, it was with Denzel And it was after the world had basically came to an end and it was supposed to restart over. All the books was destroyed, but it was one guy that was trying to get the Bible or the book, which Denzel was carrying to, I think it was San Francisco. He had to get to a destination to have the printer print it and republish it. So the whole gist of that movie was Denzel going through his journey to get that book to that publisher so he can publish it again. And there's 3 different parts of that movie that I took out of it. To me, that explains life, explains the way we are today. And one part was the villain, and he had one of his thugs go get the book. They was all on a quest to go get the book, right? And the one guy says that they was trying to get the book from Denzel. Why are you going through all this trouble for just one book? You got all these other books. Well, why are you worried about this one book? And the guy said, because you don't understand with that one book, the power you have that you can control, because people all need something to believe in, to lean on. And it's almost like the commandments, like you said. And he was saying this one book, you can get your followers and they'll do anything for that book because they have something that they believe in. And if the guy's, I should say, preaching it right, people go and buy into it. So that was one I got out of that movie, is basically saying about the Bible. And when I say this, I'm going to get a lot of pushback. I'm not saying it directly that the book is falsified, but I think it was Dad that, not falsified, but let me clear that up. Dad used to always say, or Jay, one of the two said, history. And most people understand now, history is his story. So if you win a war or if you kill everybody and ain't nobody left, and then you write a book, you basically gonna put in there what you want. Who's gonna stop to say, hey, this is not true? This ain't what really happened. You're the only person that's gonna be able to put that out there, and everybody's gonna take face value and buy into it because they trust in your word that, oh, that really happened. So that's the point that the guy was making in that movie, Book of Eli, is with that book, you can write whatever you want in there and tell the people what you want them to hear, and they're gonna believe in it. Like you said, kind of program them, have them one thought, tunnel vision, not open-minded. They're gonna think, oh, this is the right way because this is what the book says. That was one thing I got out the movie. The other one was Eli, and I was speaking on the truth or the belief. And the girl that was with him on a journey, she asked him, how you keep doing this? Well, how do you have the faith to keep going? And all this stuff has happened to you. And he said, because he told me to believe, and he's gonna follow me and walk me through this journey. And I believe him, and I know he's gonna keep me safe throughout my journey. And anybody that's seen the movie, you've seen all what he had to go through. He never veered off, even though his path got detoured. He stayed on that path until the end of the movie. He got to his destination. Gave the guy the book. Well, the book got destroyed, or the guy took it, actually got it. And then he gets there, he recited the whole book. So that speaks on a point when I'm talking about, after a while, you read the book enough, you shouldn't have to always read it. You should have it in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, and spirit. And then the other part at the end, and then I'm gonna go back to you, Matt, is the brother was blind. So that right there tells me belief. And we spoke on this last week. If you believe in something and you passionately know, whatever it is, you're gonna get what you ask for. So if you're going through stress in life or whatever it is, and you praying like you believe that God's gonna take care of it, if you have that true belief, you will walk in faith. You will have no worries, even though it's gonna be obstacles, because that's just part of life. You're gonna have obstacles that's gonna get in front of you, what's gonna deter you, but you still got focus and stay on that path. That's why my saying is STS. Stay focused, trust the process, and then stay consistent. And that was the movie that I always refer to, because to me, personally, it's in a nutshell, it explains what religion is and where it could mislead people if it's by the wrong person with power that want to use it in the wrong way. And then belief. You gotta believe in it. So whoever you believe in or what you believe in, at the end of the day, that's what it should come down to, which I do believe everybody is or are at right now. It's just that for whatever reason, like you said, Matt, everybody wants to see it in their perspective instead of understanding everybody's perspective is different, the way they take things in. So that's my take on that.
Okay, so you brought up a good point that I wanted to touch, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
As far as with now, I'm going to actually touch some feelings right about now.
Yeah.
So some may say this is my belief, but I know there's others out there that believe this. Um, I believe Christianity again was developed for control, and the reason why I say that is um, because they said what I read it dates back 2,000 years as far as when Christianity started. Now there's history that's proven with Egypt or Kemet prior to Jesus coming. Now, I don't want to touch this subject because it's going to get way out there left field. And this is kind of going back to the episode before last week about UFOs and aliens and stuff like that. Now, there are some people out there, and there's actually proof. There's a lot of people starting to believe that us as black people are not from this planet. That we're actually aliens because our DNA, the melanin that we have, is not of this planet. The DNA or the melanin that we have is basically from outer space or from in the universe. A lot of the universe is made up of melanin as far as what we have. So there's this one guy or alien that there's one dude, Billy Carson. He's a neuro scientist, and I follow him a lot. So the name of this guy or alien, his name is Thoth, and it's called the Book of Emerald Tablets. It's a really, really good book. I'm starting to read it now. So this is it right here. I'm not trying to promote the book. I ain't trying to be like Kyrie or nothing like that, but it's a really good book. It's the Emerald Tablets, and it talks about a lot of the stuff before Christianity started, and where they got the Ten Commandments from was actually from Thoth. So basically, what I'm going to say from that point, they already know the history before everything. So when they went to Africa and they got the slaves and they started enslaving people, they automatically was revolting against them. They was rebelling. So it was like, okay, how can we get these people to follow us and fall in suit? So they created Christianity. They created religion. And what that did is, like I said, it puts you in a box. They had the Ten Commandments. If you don't live by these rules, then basically you're not gonna survive. You're not gonna reach heaven and so forth. So what that does to a person psychologically, it puts you or instills fear. I see religion as fear, because if you talk to a lot of Christians, and even when I was in it, that sounds like fear. Oh, well, I can't do this, I can't do that.
Right.
When you say you can't do this and you can't do that, and you scared of the outcome, that's fear. So for me, it's hard to be a part of something that's instilling fear. Like if you're only motivated by fear, then again, you're not going to move and operate at your prime level, because most of it's out of fear. And for me, a lot of the Bible has a lot of contradictories in it. Like I said, that's another subject for another day, but there's a lot of stuff in it that contradicts some of the stuff that's in it. Now, I know the Old Testament is based off the time before Jesus, and that's when he came, is because people was living foul. They was doing everything under the sun that they weren't supposed to be doing. So God had to send his son to come down and show the people, look, this is how you're supposed to live, and so forth. And when he died, he became the New Testament. That's when he died on the cross, and that's when you get the instilling of the Holy Ghost. That's basically you getting him within you. So anyway, as far as with my whole belief that the Christianity is built to, or was created to, control people, again, if you look at it, everything that's in there is telling you what you can and can't do. That's not living free.
Right.
And it was one thing that you said, the movie you was talking about, Eli, the one movie that stuck out to me I can't remember the name of it, but it's with James Earl Jones. And it was like way back in like 1970s. And it was down at the bottom of the rock, and there was this dude up on the mountain. So the guys was going back and forth. He's like, "You don't have power." And the guy's like, "I do have power. I own this land." And he said, "You want to see real power?" And he looked up on the top of the mountain. He said, "Jump." And the dude jumped. And then he turns and looked at the guy and said, "That's power." That stuck with me for that time up until now. I think I was maybe 17 when I seen it. So for me, that said that if you can control somebody's thought, the way they think and the way they move, you got them. And that's how I see religion. You can, if you can control people the way they think and way they move, you got them. They're never going to steer away from it, because psychologically in your subconscious, you're never going to come up against something that you see as a God. And what did white people do as far as when they started, you know, instilling and putting Christianity on the Africans? Again, this is proven through psychology. When a person sees something as superior, subconsciously, you're always going to think, well, this is a God. This is my superior. I can't come against that. So 60% of blacks are Christians. That's over half. Now remember, a third of the population of the whole entire world is Christian. So if you have the minds of a third of the world as far as how to live, how to move, you can always control them, because the subconsciously they're going to be like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I got to move this way. And the same thing with Islam or any other religion out there. Now, I'm not just beating up Christianity. I'm just saying religion in general. I'm speaking on Christianity because Christianity is the largest, religion in the world. So that's why I'm speaking on it. So with that, if you think about it, like I said, if you can control people, like you said, as far as how they move, you never have to worry about them overcoming the government. Or overcoming anything, is because subconsciously in the back of their mind, they're always going to think, well, I can't go against that, because if I do, then I'm going to go to hell. Again, operating in fear. So I'm going to kick it back to you, and I have something else I want to address on that.
Yeah, so just to piggyback, that's to me, I said that's like a moral law. It's a law in place, but it's a moral law. Like you said, morally, that's wrong to do that. It's morally, it's wrong to cuss. Or like one friend I had some years ago, if I did anything, man, you can't do that. God don't like that. Like you're doing that wrong. Like, dude, I ain't no robot. I speak my mind. But he was always, you can't say that because that's not right. God don't like that. Or, he was always saying that whatever I did was wrong. So that's just kind of piggyback off what you're saying about keeping you in a box. I say it's a moral law. It's a law, like you're going against the law by saying something that's not considered to be religion. So yeah, again, that's the last time I'm gonna speak on that aspect, that it's something that you have to have an open mind for. Now, some people have an open mind, or like you said, they in fear to really venture off and do think out the box, but if you have somewhat of open mind and you kind of question it, I say go out there and, like you said, research it, just start investigating, see what else is out there to make you validate why you question the religion or what you following. Because if you don't question it, it's the old saying goes, if you fall for anything, how it goes, if you don't fight for something, stand for, you can fall for anything. Yeah. Right. So you got to sometimes do that. And there's some people that probably do question the Bible, but because they, like you said, that word fear, they don't want to go against it. They're just going to be, oh, it got to be right because it's the Bible, instead of saying, no, I don't trust that. That don't make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and research that, because I had that buddy tell me, well, you don't read the Bible, so how can you function and you ain't right? He basically was saying, because I don't follow the Bible, I'm not a good citizen. I'm saying, dude, I don't read the Bible like you do, but I ain't out here killing nobody. I'm not doing drugs. I'm a model citizen. I have my faults. I ain't saying I'm a saint, but I have my belief, but I just don't do the Bible. But his perspective was, because I don't, that means that I'm not doing anything right. You can't be doing everything the right way because you don't even know the Bible. You don't read the Bible. So how you know what the Bible is about? I said, that's my point. So if I'm not reading it, but I'm not going around doing anything crazy that does where people does read it. So you should be coming to them, questioning them because they're the ones that read it and still doing things the way they shouldn't. I'm not reading it. And again, I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I'm doing things the way I was, pretty much the way I say I was raised, the way mom and dad raised us. So that's just me as an adult. I do things knowing that it comes with consequences. So that's just me on that common sense. Like, treat everybody the way you want to kind of be treated. Or I always say, treat people the way they want to be treated. Because the way you want to be treated, the other person may not want to treat you that way. So I'm going to treat you the way you treat yourself. Seriously, that sounds kind of silly, but I always used to say that, like, I'm not going to treat you the way I want to be treated because you obviously don't want to be treated that way. You want to be treated in the other way. So that's how I am on the religion. Again, if that's you, I'm going to treat you that way. But treat me on what I do, that's me. You're going to either like it or not like it, but nobody's forcing you to associate with me, vice versa. I'm not going to not associate with somebody because they're very religious. Just when it comes to that, I'm going to leave it and I'm going to sit back and fall back and let you speak your piece, speak mine. But at the end of the day, that's your perspective, but I'm a firm believer on belief. Whatever you believe in, again, I'm going to close it with this, I promise. If it ain't doing nothing to hurt nobody, you shouldn't be so problematic about trying to convince somebody else. Now, I will say this, if the person seems kind of confused or they feel like they're on the fence, then you have the knowledge, and by all means, give them that knowledge because they might be able to sway the other way. Not telling them you should do it because what I say is the right way. Just give them the knowledge and let them kind of choose. If it's that, if it's someone that don't seem so sure of themselves on a religion, or now I believe people like that you could talk to and voice your opinion. Just don't be in a way to where you're trying to tell them this is the right way as opposed to somebody else's religion. No, if the person seems like they want to learn, then educate them. That's just me personally, But if it's somebody that had their mind made up, why are you trying to convince them of something else? That's just me. Somebody that want to learn, tell them, and they can take it for what it's worth, and they go and learn something from somebody else. And at the end of the day, put everything on the table, and at that point, you choose what you feel like the one you want to believe in. That's kind of how I am. So.
But
the only thing I hear what you're saying, I agree to an extent, but and it's like I was saying last week, it's kind of hard because when you find something that you feel as though is real and is true, it's kind of hard to contain it. Like if you got good news, you're like, oh man, I gotta tell Matt this is what happened. You're just so anxious and inside you just want to just get it out. And again, I don't think that it's intentional that somebody is trying to change anybody. I just think because when you learn new stuff, like for me, I want to speak for myself. When I learn new stuff, it's like, it's so exciting to me. It's like, man, this is crazy. So it's like, I want to just share it more than convince. Then when you start dogging somebody and like you being told you're going to hell because you're not following something, that's on another level. But as far as like me, I'm real passionate when it comes to certain things. I love knowledge. So when I learn something new, I'm always wanting to share it. And I think sometimes it might come across as me trying to change your idea or the way you think. It's not them trying to change your idea. It's just that when I come across some stuff that's like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. You have to, check into this. And as I was doing my research and stuff, it's just so much information out there that for me, when I see somebody just totally excluded, I'm gonna say it's a problem, but it's like, it's just mind-boggling to me. Like, how do you not want to learn? Like, our whole purpose here is to ascend, but I know in this Western society, it's all about making money. So because that's the main focus, nobody's going to be truthfully want to gain knowledge, and the truth, because it takes them away from, making the bag, as they say. And I think that's the biggest problem to me, is that
Yeah.
because the whole focus is making money, being successful, and having material things, that when the truth comes to you, again, it's easier to stay focused and look straight ahead opposed to looking to the left, looking to the right,
Mhm.
looking to the back, because like I said, there's so much information, it can distract you and have you like, dang, that's pretty deep,
Right.
So I want to this a look, and this the are you still there?
Yeah, you froze up for a second, but
Oh, okay.
now I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, I was doing the whole research, and for me, again, it's about knowledge. And my question is, if Christianity is the true religion, then why are we still in the same situation that we're in right now? This country bases its foundation on Christianity. It bases its foundation on God, but we're one of the most violent countries in the whole world. So I know part of it is because we gravitate to violence, we gravitate to negativity, and that's going against the word of God that you basing or claiming your foundation is. So again, that's where the contradiction comes in. So how can you claim Christianity to be the basis or the foundation of the country,
Right.
but then everything you do is totally opposite? But then when you read the Bible, there's a lot of violence and stuff that's in it. There's a lot of same stuff that's going on right now. So it kind of makes sense when you look at it.
Right.
But that's always been my thing. So it's one of two things. Either one, what you're following is not true, or two, the people that saying they claiming it are not real. It's only those two things. It's only those two options. So I kind of looked at it like this. I looked at it like a football team. Like if you look at the Patriots, for years they was dominating.
Right.
It was always the big debate. Is it the system? Is it Belichick or is it Brady? He never had superstars. So they'll plug and play and people come in. So a lot of people saying it's the system. Anybody can go in there, and be successful because the system is what it is.
Right.
So basically what I'm getting to is, if it's the system, if it's Christianity, and if this is what people say it is, then why is it not changing? Why is anything not changing?
Right. Yeah.
Or like I said, on the other hand, then these people that's claiming that they're Christians, then they're truly not doing it 100%. Because there's no way for a third of the population of the entire world, over 2 billion people that claims Christianity, how in the world are we still going through the things that we're going through? So that's why I have a disconnect with it. That's why I said religion is different from spirituality, because spirituality is more about oneness. And once you become more spiritual, you learn that everybody is one. You learn that everything is in the ecosystem, meaning the trees, the plant, everything.
Right.
So once you become, as one, because God is one. That's why it's called universe, because it's one. So spirituality, that's what it teaches. It teaches one. It teaches that we're all the same. And once you become closer to that oneness, then you look at everybody the same. But religion teaches separation. You got Muslims against Christians. You got Christians against apostolic. You got apostolic against Pentecostal. That's separation. In spirituality, there is no separation because, again, it teaches oneness.
Right.
So, that's my big, issue with that. And then just the one piece of history that I'm going to talk about, like a lot of people don't know this, is that, Jesus was actually a student. He was a student. He went to Tibet, India, and he went to, I want to say Africa, to learn manifestation and healing. So with that, like I'm studying sound healing right now. Like I always tell people when I always post stuff, we're energy. Everything about us is energy. A lot of people don't notice, like our organs produce frequency. Our bones is 38, that produces 38 to 43 megahertz. Our heart is 67 to 70 megahertz or hertz. Our thymus is 65 to 68 hertz. So what I'm saying is everything in us is energy. So when Jesus went to Tibet, he learned how to heal people through energy, because it's through touch. That's what Reiki is. You hover over somebody, and the energy that's in you, you heal that person, and you remove the blockages that's in them, so it allows the energy in you to flow free. So that's when he was laying on of hands and healing people, is because he was healing them through energy.
Energy, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't know that. They read based off of what's in the Bible, and there's more to it than just what they put in the Bible. If you give somebody a book and say, this is the truth, this is how everything started, nothing else is real, everything else is the devil, then of course you're going to turn your head to everything else. It's like, nah, I don't want that. This is what I go by. And that's where I have the pushback. All right, what you got?
No, I mean, hell, you pretty much summed it up. Like, no, I was going to ask you questions. I got CRS, so I'm trying to rewind back to the beginning, what you was talking about. But I guess I have part questions to ask you, because you kind of answering my question for me by what you just did. Because I was listening to you, and there's a couple of things that crossed my mind. Is one of the questions I was going to ask you, again, you kind of answered it, so it's going to be kind of like a historical question. I mean, what is it called when you rhetorical? Okay, so you said what you were saying about spirituality. So I was going to ask you basically, so when you're talking to people in the room, you're just sitting around chopping it up. And I was going to say, how would you come across to somebody, not to convince them that you should believe in Christianity, you should fall on to spirituality. I would say, how would you talk to someone, like I was saying earlier, some people was on a fence on what they believe in. So how would you get someone to say, well, you know what, I think spirituality would be more suited for me. I think that would be something I want to research. So basically what I'm saying is, how would you talk to somebody to get them to be more encouraged? And I think that's what I'm saying. The way you broke it down is pretty much the way that I think most people should go at it when they're talking to someone. Because you're putting the knowledge out there, you're putting the statistics out there. And again, I always tell people when I'm like with my clients, I'm gonna use the analogy because I'm a trainer. So it's kind of the concept is what I'm looking at, not the actual guy. So don't think, wow, you comparing training to this. Is when I tell somebody something, I say, if you don't believe what I'm telling you, research and find out for yourself. But this is what this is going to benefit for you. So I think the same thing when it comes to the religion thing and spirituality. The way you broke it down, I would say would be probably the best way to talk to someone in the room that's kind of on the fence. They ain't hardcore 100 believing in Christianity. They kind of in between, neutral. So I think that's important, because you said earlier about knowledge. How come people don't want it? I think my personal thing is you got to pay attention to your audience. So what I mean by that is, even though you spit knowledge, if that person looks more combative, if they standoffish, if they really don't want to hear what you're saying, to me, I feel like I'm not going to get through that person. I'll put it out there, but I'll leave it there as little nuggets and let them bite on it. But if it's somebody, again, that seems more engaged and they kind of curious, those are the ones that I'll be like, you know what, that's the people you can kind of influence, or not influence, but and not enhance, and it's the word I'm looking for. I'm trying to think of the word. Inspire. You can inspire them to want to learn more. But certain people you just can't talk to. So that's when you said about the knowledge. Who wouldn't want knowledge? I agree with that 100%. But it's some people that's so stubborn, like that mindset. You said it. They one-track mind. They believe what they believe. So even though you're talking to them and you're putting all that knowledge out there, they're gonna be like, I don't believe that. But again, that's why I'm saying it again. If it's somebody that's more engaged and they listening to you and they asking you questions, to me, that's a sign of somebody you can inspire to want to say, you know what, maybe spirituality is where I need to be, because it sounds like it makes more sense than the Christianity. Because I think that's the biggest problem with the situation with some people when it comes to their religion, with Christianity, more or less, is they so infatuated with what they believe in. Even if you have the knowledge and the statistics to back it up, they're gonna refuse to accept it. So that's the catch-22. But I still say you shouldn't stop. As long as you can have a dialogue where nobody's talking over each other, or what I'm saying makes more sense, I think you can get through to some people. Because and I'm saying this not to gas your head or nothing, but I told Felicia that, I said, you and Matt are the same. And I ain't mean to say that to make her feel some type of way, but I said the only difference is when Matt speak on it, you speak on it to where you want to listen, you want to be more engaged because you come with the statistics. And I'm not saying Felicia don't say anything that's more or less. It's the same. It's just a different way. So I always believe, and I stand firm on this, and I told her this, we had a conversation the other day. I look at the training thing again. I had one of my bosses tell me, can you be a coach? No, he said it's two things. You could be a good coach, and then the person has to be coachable. So it had to go both ways. You can be a great coach, but suck at communicating. You can be a great athlete, but you're not coachable. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. So what I mean by that on this,
No,
so what I mean on this, you can have the greatest person that's very intelligent, very wise, but they just don't take in information because they so hard set on what they believe in. So to me, that's not a coachable person. They could be smart, they can go out and learn their own, but if somebody's trying to coach them up or tell them something, they refuse to hear it. And that's what I mean. I'm gonna use sports because I'm a sports guy. You have the best athlete in the room. By far the MVP of the team, but he's not coachable. Don't want to listen. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, coach. My way is the best way. He want to do it his way. That's an uncoachable guy. Even though he's the best player, he's not coachable because he don't want to take in anything that's going to help him, or it's just so much different light. It's not so much telling him what you're doing is wrong, just giving him something to think about. Say, maybe if you do it this way, you can go and score that way. It's more, I know what I'm doing. This is what I've been doing for years. So what you telling me ain't going to work. So to me, that's not a coachable person. Then on the other aspect, you got to be able to you could be a great motivator or a horrible coach. Now, what I mean by that, perfect example, I'm going to use my job. We have a lead. This guy is the smartest dude. I call him MacGyver. I mean, when something breaks down, this dude just fixing it like MacGyver. I'm like, damn, dude, you a lead, but you should be a maintenance because you fix stuff real good. Very intelligent, know everything about the business. When it comes to managing people, he sucks. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It is what it is. He don't know how to manage people. When it's two people arguing and don't want to get along, he don't know how to handle it. But when it's trying to put somebody in the right place to make the business go with a flow, he has no clue on how to do it. But he's the smartest dude. He knows the business as far as making stuff work, but he's not a people person. So he don't know how to talk to people. So that's what I mean by you could be a great coach, motivator, or you could be vice versa. A great coach, bad motivator, or a great motivator, but a bad coach on X's and O's. So people are like, what does that got to do with religion? Again, what I mean by all that is when you're talking to somebody, some people is horrible coaches, but they're great motivators. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. Some people are very smart, intelligent, but they just not coachable. And I think that's how we fall with that in this line of spirituality versus religion. Everybody has some of one or the other as far as the coach or uncoachable or a great motivator, but a horrible coach. You know, so that's just how my lens I see it. I know it's different, guys, but that's just how I see it to where it makes sense to me. So.
Okay, I forgot the question you asked. No, but as far as what I remember,
no, how would you coach? How would you talk to somebody in the room if they was on a fence?
Now I would basically like what I told Chris. It's a process. Like now I realize that it's a process, and what you said is 100% true. It's up to the individual. If that person wants to learn and they're open to learning, then it'll be easier to introduce things to them, you know, because they're curious. But if it's somebody that's dead set and they're so egotistical where what I believe is what I believe, nothing else is right, then it's like you said, that person, and I'm gonna say a lost cause, but it's nothing you can do with them. But as far as how I would approach somebody, like now when I do talk to people, I just tell them, like, look, just look at it from this perspective. There's more stuff out there to learn. Like everything is connected. Christianity is connected and religion is connected to quantum physics and the laws of the universe. Everything is connected because God created everything. So it's nothing that is not there that's not related. It's just it's termed different, you know. It's the same thing. It's just in a different way. And that's what people have to realize is everything out here is pretty much the same. People just take it and twist it and put their own little spin on it. And like I was saying, that with Christianity, religion, it's more so to control people. So there's some things in the Bible that has some truth to it. You know, it matches up with the laws of the universe. It matches up with quantum physics. So there's a lot of truths in it. And it's a lot of stories in it that's good that you can actually, you know, ascend and progress and be a better person. But I'm just saying the gist of it in itself is controlling, because on one aspect it talks about how to become a better person and what to do to become a better person. Then on the other hand, this is something I have an issue with. This is how I know that it's man-made, because man is ego. So there's one aspect or one point in the Bible where it says, God, I'm a jealous God. Okay, that sounds like man to me. That sounds like ego. So I'm like, okay, why would you be a jealous God and you don't want anything else to be recognized but you? That sounds like ego to me. You see what I'm saying? So that's contradictory. One aspect that says love thy brother like, you know, they're your own or like they're yourself. But then on the other hand, the ego comes in, well, don't serve any other God but me. I'm the only God you're supposed to serve. So I have issues with that. And then there's other aspects, and I don't want to touch too much on it, but then man kind of taints it too, is because there's parts in the Bible where it talks about gifts of the and fruits of the spirit, where you're supposed to be healers and stuff like that. Why is nobody talking about that? When you hear about church, the only thing you hear about paying tithes, these mega churches. If you don't do this, you don't do that, you're going to hell. That's not the only thing what the Bible talks about. The main thing that always stuck out to me when I was in Christianity was the gifts of the spirit. You know, I want to see somebody healing somebody. That's what I want to see. I didn't give a damn about LeBron being a billionaire or Rihanna being a billionaire. Like, are you healing people? That's what I celebrate. That's what I gravitate to. And that's the difference I want to touch on. The difference between someone that's spiritual, they're going to speak things of the spirit. They're going to talk about healing people. They're going to talk about helping someone learn what their gifts are, you know, so they can master that gift and continue to help people. It's more about helping people and helping the universe, whereas someone just religious, the only thing they're talking about, well, yeah, God blessed me with this house. God blessed me with this car. God blessed me with X amount of money. That comes with it. So why are you expounding on it? Why are you glorifying it? I don't hear anything about you. You know what? I healed 10 people last week. I healed people from leukemia. I healed somebody from cancer. You know, those are the things that we're supposed to be doing, or you're supposed to be doing as a Christian. Not talking and bragging about, well, I got me a mega church, or God blessed me with this great job, or whatever the case is. And again, that's ego. So again, is it the system or is it the person? So for me, it can't just be one. It got to be a combination of two. So it's the system and the person. So it's something in that system is allowing that person to become so egotistical. But anyway, I don't want to get on my rant as far.
Well, it's two things. Maybe on the next episode we can talk about holidays and how we feel about that, because I have some friends and associates how they ask me, do I celebrate Easter? And I'm like, no, not really. And they, oh, how could you? And I said, for one, it's too commercialized. It's not even about a bunny. Like, to me, I said, what does that have to do with Easter? So I'm not big on holidays like we were growing up. So I think that would be a good subject for Easter, of course, Christmas, Halloween. The other one's more American holidays, so 4th of July. So I'm not going to, but more the ones that's supposed to be about religion, but it's Easter and Christmas. And then also, you just said something that made me think that we could probably talk about that next week too. Is when you speak on religion and you don't know much about it, I was told, well, if you don't know anything about God, then you don't know yourself. So I was like, no, not really. So I want to touch on that next week. And then this is something too that we could touch on next week, because I know it's getting to the end. Is I said myself, I ain't gonna lie, a friend was telling me the other day that they had surgery and they almost came near death and they was lucky. So I said, man, that's God blessed. So how do you feel? What do you think when people say, well, like, it's a blessing that you didn't die in an accident? Like when I got in that car accident, it could have been a whole lot worse. And I was like, man, that was God watching out for me. But then, I was talking to Felicia and we watched that movie or documentary, The Secret. And that's a good documentary. I watched that about manifestation. And he was saying how you manifest bad things on yourself. Like you stump your foot on the edge of the bed and you, oh, damn it, this is going to be a horrible day. So you kind of putting that energy out there. And it's funny because she said, when I told her about my accident, she's like, you allowed that accident to happen to you. And the reason why she said that is because the girl flew by me and drove by me. And she was one of them people bobbing and weaving through traffic. And I said to myself, this damn fool gonna wind up hitting somebody. No.
Yeah, you told me that.
She gonna hit me, but guess who she hit? She hit me. So I was like, oh, are you serious? So when I told her about that, she was like, babe, that's because you probably brought it to yourself, because you probably thinking to yourself, please don't hit me. And I was, I ain't gonna lie. It is funny she said that. And then we watched, maybe 2 days later, we watched that that documentary, The Secret, and he was speaking on that, on how people manifest bad things to themselves when they keep thinking on it and harping on it, and you're putting that energy out, like you were saying earlier about how our body is energy. And we put it out in the universe, and it puts it out there, and that universe puts it right back on you, because that's all you're putting out is negativity. So basically, my point is, why I'm asking, we could talk about next week, is when we make that old famous saying, well, God was looking out for you, or God had your back. So we want to speak on that. Do you feel that's really God looking out for you? Or do you feel like that's part of the manifestation of your negative thoughts? Or, you know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about that next week.
All right, I just want to touch on that just a little bit.
Yeah.
And the only thing I want to touch on is because the whole manifestation thing, that's like a buzzword. Like everybody talks about it, but they don't truly know what manifestation is. It's going back to what I was saying before. When I'm saying that everything is energy, this gets back into quantum physics, because everything in this universe is based on frequency and vibration. So the whole thing with manifestation is, and what she was saying is, when we speak things into existence, our words, it carries not just a vibration, but it carries a frequency. So the whole
out to the universe.
Exactly. So to answer your question, like kind of sort of, is I kind of do believe that, but at the same time I don't. I believe that we manifest. That's why we say a thought becomes a belief, and a belief becomes your manifestation. The time we get up in the morning, whatever thought and belief you have, you are manifesting your day. What happens, and I told Kim this, and she got upset because she was struggling and stuff. And I was like, everything happens because of you. Everything that happens to us is because of us. It has nothing to do with no devil. Ain't no devil doing nothing. It's the devil that's inside us, because the devil is the good and bad, yin and yang. Everything in the universe is two. It's a balance. So the devil that we fight is the darkness that's within inside us. So anything that happens is based off of thought. Sometimes it's not a conscious thought, it's more or less the subconscious thoughts that we don't realize what we're doing, then we're creating our day. But again, religion doesn't teach that. So what does it teach? It teaches the devil. So it takes people focus off of themselves because they don't get part truth. They're blaming on something else, and stuff keeps happening to them. And what do they keep doing? It's the devil. The devil made me do it. And nothing never changes because they're not realizing whatever I'm speaking, whatever I'm thinking, I'm manifesting into reality. So let me change my thought, change how I speak, change who I'm around, my environment, and then see what happens.
Yeah. So I recommend that show to everybody if they haven't seen it or heard of it. The Secret. It was really good. And what you just said, he literally said the same exact thing about the frequency. And he was saying when you talk and you putting it out there, like, damn it, I'm gonna have a bad day, man. This day already starting off on a wrong foot. I know the day gonna be messed up. So you already, like you said, you already put the process, you put it in the process because you already starting your day off with that mentality. So, but so that's why I was thinking about that when I was, and I'm guilty, like I said. People say something like, man, God was looking out for you. You was blessed, or now you have an angel looking over you, so, we touch more on that next week, but
I was about to, I was about to go in on that too, because I'm just going to say this, that do bother me, because I hear some people say, well, I thank God, I'm not even going to say that, because I don't want to step on anybody's toes. What they believe is what they believe.
Right.
But I'm just going to say this to wrap it up. Again, this is our belief. We're not trying to force anything on anybody. We're not trying to, change anybody's mindset. My whole thing is open your mind. And it's like I told Chris, there's a wealth of information out there. There's a lot of truth. It's not going to kill you just to open your mind and, do your research, and don't just solely put everything, as they say, put all your eggs in one basket. The truth is out there, and I'm just going to say this. I remember because Chris asked me this, he said, so what led you to where you at right now? And I said, honestly, one of my prayers when I was in Christianity, and something I've always said ever since I was young, there's two things I always sought out: the truth and true love. That's why I call myself the truth. And this is how I know that some psychics out there are real. That's something else I want to touch on too, about that tarot reading stuff. But she said this, and the only person, I never even told you this, no one ever knew that. And she knew. She was like, I know what you want. And I was like, what? She said, you want the truth and you want true love. And she looked at me, and I'll never forget this. She had this look like, I feel for you, because in this world that we live in, no one truly knows what true love is. And you're not going to find it because there's so much deception out there. People are following the wrong thing and they don't know what the truth is. So they have a false perception of what they're doing is real and what's the truth. And it's just like, she didn't say you're not going to find it. She just said, I wish you the best of luck and I hope you do find it. But she knew that that's what I was seeking out, was truth. And so that's why I believe that I'm on the right path. And that's what I was telling Chris that I graduated, is because my prayers and my heart desire was always to learn the truth. I want to know the truth about the universe and about everything. That has always been my number one goal. And to be a spiritual healer and to be at my highest spiritual ascension. I don't care about the money and all that other stuff. That's what I strive for, and that's what I move for. And for me, that's why this is passionate for me, is because I know with spirituality, if you truly a spiritual person, it ain't about none of this material stuff. Because once you get to that spiritual level, you manifest whatever you want into your life. So you don't have to stress about money. You don't have to stress about all this stuff that everybody else does, because you're at such a high level that you have that ability to manifest those things.
Right.
But anyway, that's another subject for another day. But again, good people, like and subscribe. Again, we're going to be on Spotify next week. I'm looking at doing live. I don't know if we're going to do YouTube live, but if it's not YouTube, it would definitely be Facebook live. So we ask you guys to call in, text whatever you have to.
Yes.
And let's have an open conversation. Don't just let this be about me and Mark. So y'all can't say these jokers up here, man. The only thing they doing is talking about what they believe in, and they crushing religion and this and that. Right. So now it's your opportunity to speak your truth. And as Marcus said last week, educate us. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, he don't know. And how will we know if no one ever steps up and say, look, this is something y'all should look at or think about? Because I'm a very receptive and open-minded person. I don't turn away knowledge. So with that being said, belief becomes a thought, and the thought becomes a manifestation. Marcus?
Yes, and same thing here. Just echo what Matt just said. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm just going to be more adamant, not more. I'm going to say I'm as adamant as Matt, because we need feedback, guys. I talk to people that say they watch the podcast. For whatever reason, you don't want to comment, but we need that to get and understand what we putting out there, how y'all feel about it. So it doesn't hurt. Nobody's gonna get butt hurt over here if y'all say something. Because again, this is what it's about. It's open conversation on each other. Everyone learn each other point of views, values in life, and all of that. So on that note, Matt said his, mine's is STS, guys. That's on any aspect in life. I mainly use it for personal training, but if you stay focused, trust your process, and stay consistent, which is the key out of all of them. Whatever you do, you gotta be consistent at it. STS. So on that note, see y'all next week.
Peace.
And we out.
They wonders of the world, they monsters. The twin Tompkins, brought on only born. They travel the world stomping at the brink of dawn daily. The iron's pumping. I bring you no brothers, about to bring you their life. Look no further, everybody, cause it's day and night. Let's go.